Welcome to the weekly recap show for Trailblazer Athletics. I'm Dan Wohler here with Assistant Athletic Director Jeff Polari. Jeff, how are you doing this week?
Good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous, Jeff. Thank you. So, men's soccer unfortunately dropped a huge MASCAT game to Fitchburg State 2-1, and that game was so important all the way till the very end.
Yeah, you know, the seasons are starting to wind down, and that usually places a little bit of a higher importance on all of the league games, league standings. This was no different. A game that we needed to win down at Fitchburg State. Played in very difficult conditions, heavy winds, heavy rain, flooded the field quite a bit, and unfortunately the Trailblazers came away with a setback 2-1 defeat. Fell behind early, got down a goal in the first half. They did slice into that deficit and tie the game up finally. Anthony Basile in the 84th minute converted off of a rebound, off a corner kick, and at that point it looked like MCLA had a really great shot at least to send the game into overtime, but unfortunately they gave up a goal about a minute and a half later. Nice shot from about 30 yards out, and just beat Cameron Anderson to the upper right corner, and ultimately set them back of a real important couple of points.
Yeah, such a tough loss to watch for the Trailblazers, and with that MASCAT game, we'll take a look now at the current standings and where the Trailblazers lie.
Yeah, so you can see MCLA right now currently kind of in the middle of the pack, sitting there at 3-2-1, 10 points, behind a couple of teams there in front of them. It's going to be a really important weekend coming up. Obviously, they got to take care of business on their own with Framingham State, and each of the teams above them have some difficult contests. Worcester State at home with Bridgewater, Mass Maritime on the road at Westfield. So it's going to be a really exciting final weekend on the men's soccer side for sure.
And on to the women's soccer side, they played two games, one against Albany College of Pharmacy and the other against Fitchburg State at home.
Albany College of Pharmacy got off to a great start. Natalie Caney scored really early on, about 30 seconds into the contest, gave us a quick 1-0 lead. Then we fell behind 2-1 to ACP, and then ultimately came back, tied it up, couldn't get the game winner in overtime, and walked away with a 2-2 draw with ACP, and that sent us into the weekend with Fitchburg State, which was certainly a must-win for playoff aspirations, and unfortunately fell behind early, 2-0, and we just couldn't quite make that up.
And Caney in that game converted on a penalty kick, which was a great way for a senior to score on her senior day.
Part of senior day, and Natalie got fouled in the box. You can see her here taking a good rip at it and beating the keeper to the lower left corner. Great to see any senior on senior day come through with a moment. At the time, it sliced the lead to 2-1, gave the Trailblazers life into the second half, but just couldn't get over the hump, couldn't muster up the offense to earn again those key points, and what is a very critical game at this point in the conference.
And that game was a MASCAT game as well, so we'll look at the MASCAT current standings.
Yeah, MCLA still alive for postseason play. They will certainly need a victory over Framingham State on the road this weekend. Currently 1-4-1 in the league with 4 points. Will need some help. Salem State and Fitchburg State are competing this weekend as well, but nonetheless, there's still some things to be played for the Trailblazers. Need a road win down at Framingham. Hopefully they can pull it off.
And the women's volleyball team had a huge game against Worcester State, and they won that game 3-0.
Yeah, the volleyball program, again, I keep saying these must-win situations. They were up against it a little bit. Their last home game, Worcester State came into the gym last Wednesday night, a match that we really needed to get a victory. And you can see here senior Sam Anderson with a great hit and earning a key point. She was outstanding that night, or earned a real key 3-0 win over the Lancers, and we actually will hold the tiebreaker over them because of it, which is a real peg in the back pocket for them. And
you mentioned Sam Anderson's performance, but her senior co-captain Allison Clark having a fabulous week as well.
Allison continues to do it all for MCLA. She's great on the attack. She's great digging balls out. You can see her here getting up for a block with freshman Brooke Quepperell. It's nice to see her continue to put up solid numbers, which would bode well for us heading into the regular season finale this weekend down at Bridgewater State, which is going to be a very important pivotal game. MCLA is guaranteed a home playoff game at this point. It's just a matter of whether they're going to be the 3rd or the 4th seed.
So speaking of 3rd and 4th seed, we'll look now at the MASCAT current standings to see where the women's volleyball team is.
Yeah, and again, MCLA right now tied with Bridgewater State at 3-2. Those two will square off this weekend. Very pivotal matchup there. Ultimately, that should decide the 3rd or 4th seed in the conference postseason, so it should be an exciting matchup for both teams.
It should be exciting, and we'll look ahead now to next week, and we'll begin with women's soccer.
Women's soccer gets a little time off off to kind of hopefully heal a little bit. Again, they're going to be on the road, Framingham State, in a must-win situation if they want their season to continue. They're going to have to find a way to go on the road and beat the Rams down in the final regular season finale for both clubs.
In volleyball, we just mentioned, got 2 games coming up, 1 a MASCAC game.
Yep, volleyball will travel to Cobleskill tomorrow night for non-league action, and a great chance against the Fighting Tigers to get a win prior to what ultimately is their most important game of the week down at Bridgewater State this weekend. Again, regular season finale leading into the MASCAC playoffs, which will begin that following Wednesday with the quarterfinal round.
And the men's soccer team, 2 games left, one of which is a MASCAC game, huge MASCAC game.
It's been a while since the MCLA men's soccer team's been at home, been since October 7th against Worcester State, so they'll be home twice this week. They got Albertus Magnus coming in tomorrow night, 5 o'clock start. Going to be a cold, dreary night under the lights, and then ultimately their huge contest this weekend with Framingham State. So much to be played for. MCLA still in the running for a regular season conference championship, still in the running for home playoffs. Just so many implications with almost every game that's on the docket this weekend. It should be a really exciting time.
Right, several scenarios for that program. And now on to a program we haven't talked much about lately is the cross-country program competing in the MASCAC Championship.
Yeah, I've mentioned already that championship season is here. Almost all these games this weekend, while they're not labeled playoff games, they certainly are at that level. And the MASCAC Championships for men's and women's cross-country is being held this weekend down at Westfield State on a course that the Trailblazers already ran earlier this year at the James Early Invitational. So it'll be nice to see how they stack up against the rest of the teams in the league this weekend.
Sure, and with one season coming to a close, another season begins, and that's the winter season with our men's and women's basketball programs.
Always fun to see the start of your winter seasons pick up. We'll start with men's basketball. Both programs with new coaches, but Derek Shell leading the men's basketball program. They've gotten underway the last week and a half. Midnight Madness scheduled for tomorrow night in the Campus Center gym. Should be a great event. Hopefully he's got a lot of new faces, so it'll be a chance for the fan base to see those players in action. And then on the women's side, new coach Lauren Stock also getting her feet wet. She has just started about 3 weeks ago on staff, and they've been working hard on the women's side. So nice to see both of those programs get underway with the first games regular season scheduled to begin November 15th. So not too far away as the fall seasons begin to wrap up and head into postseason. It's always good to see the winter sports getting into action.
Definitely very excited to see both those programs get underway. And for Trailblazer fans at home, make sure to follow us online and on all of our social media platforms. For myself and Jeff, thanks for watching.